People do amazing things every day, and yet most of us feel like we can't do our taxes ourselves. That doesn't make any sense. TurboTax believes that with the right tools and encouragement, people can do anything. Yes, even taxes. And with TurboTax Live, you have access to CPAs on demand who are available even on nights and weekends to answer your questions or give you advice to help make sure you do your taxes right and get your best possible refund. TurboTax. All people are tax people.
Welcome to Women's Hoops and Talks, the What Podcast. I'm Tara. No Cassidy today. She unfortunately can't join us, but I do have a very special guest. Today I am talking to former Blazers outsider, designer for Flagrant Magazine, and one of the founders of Rip Twitty. I know this sounds like three different people, but it's all rolled into one magnificent person. Welcome back to the podcast, Alex Haigh.
Hi, thanks for having me, Tara.
It's so great to talk to you. I could not remember when the last time was that we talked about basketball, and it was actually 10 months ago.
Yeah, that's insane. I was trying to remember if it was the last All-Star break, but you were saying it was just at the end of the season, so I guess, wow, it has been that long.
Yeah, it was at the end of the season, and we gave out awards. I myself can't remember what a single one of them were, but I'm sure they were all extremely significant to all of the winners.
Yes, they mattered a lot, and you should all go re-listen to that podcast for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Yes, and then tell us what we said.
Yes.
Well, on the show, we like to get started with an icebreaker, and today's icebreaker comes thanks to follows on the game the Blazers played against Utah. We're not going to relitigate the non-call goaltend at the very end, unless you want to.
Oh, God.
But the part that has really stuck with me about that is the newest beef in the NBA, which I am so delighted about, which is Gary Trent Jr. versus Donovan Mitchell. I have no idea where this came from.
It came from Donovan Mitchell's brain. That's where it came from. It came from nowhere but Donovan Mitchell. That's why it's so great. Yeah.
Awesome. I guess I don't know why there was a what do you call, like a mutual what do you call it when two people get technicals? A double technical.
Mm-hmm.
On the two of them, and apparently it came from them talking to each other. And after the game, Donovan Mitchell says, "I don't see why a guy like Gary Trent should come in and think he can just punk us." And so our icebreaker for today, Alex, what do you think Gary Trent said to Donovan Mitchell? Any ideas?
Dude, the best part about this is realistically, I don't think Gary Trent said anything. I think all he said was something with his body, and it's called defense. And the NBA is, I don't know, not familiar with this these days. Gary Trent Jr. was just playing on-ball defense with Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell didn't like it. He thinks he's being punked because he's being well defended. It's pretty embarrassing for Donovan Mitchell. I think if Gary Trent were to have said anything, it was probably something like, "I'm not scared of you in this, dinky little town when you look like Littlefoot from Land Before Time. Like, nothing you can say really affects me. I'm not scared of you, Donovan Mitchell." And the best part was that after the clip went on to Twitter, Gary Trent Jr. just retweeted it with like a bunch of his little hand emojis and a laughing face. So, as they say, Gary Trent Jr. is living rent-free in Donovan Mitchell's head right now, and it's glorious.
It is, and we got to hang on to the little things if we're going to make it through the season.
Thank God that happened in that game, because there is nothing else positive to take from that other than the fact that we just, scraped, clawed and scratched our way to an almost victory. But yeah, I mean, thank goodness we had that little nugget of hate from Donovan Mitchell, which is just so funny. I hope it continues. Like, in my opinion, Utah is like our new rivalry. I don't care about any other teams now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always had a dislike for the Utah team, especially the last few years when everybody has just like said, oh, they're going to be so great. And so I always fall for it every single year. And they are good, but they're never like they haven't yet risen to the heights that I feel like people have put them in at the beginning of the seasons, but I fall for it every time. So that's on me. But still, and ever since the Blazers did not draft Donovan Mitchell, there is a vocal contingent of Blazer fans who really wish that Donovan Mitchell had come to Portland. And so I just, as like, the mama bear defender of the current Blazers, I'm just like, how can you say that? That means we wouldn't have the ones that we have. So I've always had that kind of relationship. I, for one, cannot think of, I can't think of what Gary Trent Jr. must have said, because the only thing that I can think of that doesn't seem like something Gary would say at all, but every time I think about this, I immediately flash back to Zach Collins last year and his favorite technical against Clay. And obviously I can't repeat that here. No. Or I'm not going to, but basically it was FU and then a not nice word for a sex worker. And so you can imagine what that was that he said. And he said it with a lot of venom. And I was just like, that is not something Gary Trent Jr. would say. He would say something much more like, I feel like he would say, well, you, sir, are no Damian Lillard, or like something like that. Something a little bit more modest.
Much more cutting and kind of psychological. Yeah, if anything. But man, that Zach Collins technical, that's an all timer. That takes me back.
Yeah, that was so good, but it's not one that I can ever like repeat in, out in public, because people are shocked when I use language like that, which is not my usual language anyway, but I just thought it was so funny.
Rip Twitty made a Valentine last year that had that on it. So if you search our old tweets, you can probably find it and use it this year if you'd like.
That's awesome. That was from the Rip Twitty account?
Yeah, I think we made a bunch of digital Valentines last year. They're somewhere on our Twitter. We didn't have time to make them this year, but they're still on there. So, and some, people that are no longer here. We got some Evan Turner Valentines, some Ed Davis Valentines, so some vintage Valentines somewhere in the Twitter sphere for you.
We'll have to go back and hunt those down and link those so people can enjoy them, because it's almost Valentine's Day. So, tell me about, what have your thoughts been just kind of in general about the team this year? I know that's a really huge question.
Yeah, it's a huge question, especially for me, because I got to be honest with you, I haven't watched as much basketball this year as I did last year. Obviously, with Outsiders, you can't miss a game. But this year I have had other things going on, which I'm sure we'll get to. But I think my overall feeling about the team is, we're doing the best with what we got. We were obviously injury plagued, and we had a lot of kind of weird moves and acquisitions, with Carmelo Anthony and now Trevor Ariza. It's just been a weird year. So I've basically just been taking everything with multiple grains of salt. You know what I mean? I'm not taking anything too seriously. In my opinion, this is just sort of an experimental season, and it's kind of just like a killing time until everyone's healthy and back next season. But I'm not trying to be pessimistic. It's just, that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's hard to imagine that with the roster so depleted. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but it has been weird. And you talked about some, odd different acquisitions. Do you even, it seems like so long ago now, but did you have any attachment to or favorite memories of Baze or Tolliver in their very short time here? What do you remember about their tenure with the Blazers?
Honestly, I don't remember a lot about their play. I think I remember and appreciate and will miss the things that a lot of Portlanders remember and appreciate and miss about those players, which is how much they loved Portland and how quickly they, sort of fit in here and just spread the love about the city and hopped on the bandwagon. That was pretty cool to see. So which makes it even more sad when those players leave, because they find a place they really like and they settle in, at least emotionally, fairly quickly. I guess that's just the nature of the beast, but that's always sad to see.
Mm-hmm. Any players that have sort of risen in, become your favorites, besides Damian, although you can talk about Damian if you want. I just always assume that's given.
Yes, it is given. It's always Damian. It will always be Dame. I mean, Gary Trent Jr. obviously is like showing out lately. He's really fun to watch. He's got a lot of energy, and he's kind of, that scrappy player. Like I said, with the Donovan Mitchell stuff, playing like full court on ball defense is like not really heard of anymore in the NBA. Nobody wastes their energy on that kind of stuff. But Gary Trent Jr. is so excited to be on the floor. He's like, screw it. I'm going to play defense from under this basket to under that basket and back again. And like, this is how we're going to play this game. And it's pissing off other players, which is obviously one of your goals as a defender. So he's been really fun to watch. I would say he's probably the most exciting one. We're so stretched right now. So it's, I don't think that anybody else has shown anything, but
I loved Scal while he was here. I was bummed when I was really hoping that he would stick around because I thought he had a lot to offer as a bench player. I mean, I'm not like, I was so excited. I was very excited for him that he got the start the one time, 3 minutes before he got injured. But I was just thinking long term that he was kind of the new Swiss Army knife, and he didn't do anything like extraordinarily well, but he was able to do what was needed. So I was kind of bummed to see him go. And
I mean, he was kind of in that like position that we needed, that he just was afforded a little bit more playing time than some other people. Mm-hmm. That was sad to see him go. He again was another guy who seemed like he was excited to be here. I mean, I don't think any player is not going to be excited to be in Portland. I even had my doubts about Carmelo really fitting in here because he seemed like such a, big market player that I wasn't sure if he'd be able to kind of settle into the smaller market team, but he's proving me wrong there too. So anything can happen.
What do you see as some of the ways that Melo has impacted the team?
I think maybe, just based on when he got here, it maybe gave us a little bit of hope and a little bit of sort of a different narrative to go off of. To kind of give the guys energy and a reason to play. A lot of those guys probably look up to Carmelo, as young kids, and to have him on their team and to kind of give them kind of just a new take on what they're doing this season, and to have Carmelo have, reciprocated that sort of excitement and want to stay in Portland, I think has been pretty important for the just cohesiveness of this pretty broken sort of random team that we have right now. I don't know. It surprises me that he wants to stay in Portland. I did not think that he'd be okay with like what I looked at as settling for, such a small team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, a lot of people were surprised that he came out and said that, now that we all lived through the LaMarcus saying that he was going to stay, I take everybody's, talk about a grain of salt. That's now something that I really take with a grain of salt when they say they're going to stay. But like Dan and I have talked about this on the weekly podcast. Just the fact that Carmelo said it means a lot, right? It sends a message.
He's kind of a silent type. Like he's probably not going to show all of his cards. If he's waffling, he might not say anything. So yeah, I agree. If he said something to a reporter, it probably means he believes it. So that could be cool.
I've been kind of in awe about how huge of a celebrity he is.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely surreal. I remember when we signed him, I was just like, okay, I guess Carmelo Anthony is a Portland Trailblazer now. Like, I guess I got to get used to that. Mm-hmm. Kind of weird, but cool. I mean,
you walk around Moda Center and there are so many people with Melo jerseys on. I mean, there's still way more Damian Lillard jerseys than anything else, but there's tons of people like with Melo New York Knicks jerseys on. A few with Denver, mostly they're New York Knicks Melo, but it's just weird to me that somebody who's such a celebrity is now on the team, but at the same time he doesn't seem like he's like tried to steal any of the shine off of the guys who've been here and put in the work to bring this team to where they are.
Yeah, no, not at all. It definitely seems like he's letting Dame still run the team, and, do his thing and keep the ethos right.
Do you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all.
I was wondering if you follow the entry. What do you call it? Like the pictures of those guys when they come in, like the
game day outfits or walk-in outfits or something.
Yeah. Do you follow those much?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's like one of my favorite parts of.
Okay, excellent. So I personally thought that until Melo got here, that the guys were kind of just phoning it in. And then after he got here, I felt like there was a pretty dramatic resurgence of caring about how they looked. So I'm curious if you noticed similar, and do you like Melo's looks? Are you into it? And are there any other like rising fashion stars that you think are on the team?
I mean, yeah, Melo has a good sense of style. He takes some risk, but he's not like looking crazy. Dame has a good sense of style too, but like I will always go back to, we lost a huge level of drip when Evan Turner left our team. Okay. He was like out there. He took fashion risks. He was confident. He could wear anything and make it look good. And, now we have, God, I mean, I think I've seen some like really bad outfits from like Zach Collins, like just really bland outfits. Like, come on, dude, you're in the NBA. Like, this is your outfit. Give it a little more. You know what I mean? But so I don't know. Maybe the guys don't care. I don't know if I would care. But I feel like if I had the money and the time and the cameras all in my face, I might give it a little bit more effort. But Carmelo's bringing it. Dame's bringing it. So far, that's it. I don't really see any like standout like guys who are coming to take like Russell Westbrook's crown or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. I think that you should keep your eye on Gary Trent Jr. Again, okay. He's not only been performing well on the court, he has frequently he's one of the more radically dressed. I mean, he's not like totally radical or whatever, but frequently he's someone who has something on that you go, oh, interesting. Like a coat with like a really wild pattern on it, or he had this one awesome walk-up outfit that was like all pink shorts and a shirt that was so cute. I totally would have looked terrible in it, but would have and liked it anyway. I would have looked at it in the store and been like, oh, that's so cute, and he like wore it so well. So I think he is on the rise. I have enjoyed the Nurkic Collins. I mean, I would way rather have them on the court, but as them on the bench, like their little suits and stuff, I think they are pretty. I mean, they just totally look like none of the Roxbury guys.
Oh yeah, well they're awesome. I completely forgot about Nurk. I guess I was just thinking about like the people in rotation at the moment. Yeah, Nurk's sideline outfits, bench outfits have been incredible. I mean, he's pairing it with like glasses and that hair. It's just so good. And didn't he say that he's doing the hair thing for Bill Walton, like in honor of Bill Walton?
Oh, I didn't hear that. All I heard was that he wasn't going to cut it until he came back.
He mentioned something about like he's growing it out like for Bill Walton because it's the 50-year anniversary or something. I heard that somewhere, so don't quote me on it, but that might be why he's doing it, which makes me love him even more.
I know. It's hard to not love that guy enough, or to love that guy enough, because he's so lovable. I was at the Miami game, and my husband couldn't come, so I splurged and upgraded my seats, and so I got to sit like really close. And I was taking a picture of Zach Collins because he was wearing an all brown suit and a shirt with no tie, and he just looked like Dwight Schrute to me. Like, I really. Except for the fact, because Dwight Schrute always wears a tie. Otherwise, like I was like, I don't understand the inspiration or the concept, or like where he's going with all these like FBI agent looking suits. Because they're they're really nice, and they're super high quality, and they are tailored like really well. They're just like brown, navy blue. I like it when he wears the really colorful ones.
Yeah, it's like they're not styled well. It's like he just throws on the suit and thinks that that's all he needs to do or something. Like he needs to like figure out the whole look, maybe, is his problem.
Maybe he needs to add a scarf.
A necklace, maybe no shirt underneath. Let's take some risks here, Zach. Take some freaking risks.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we won't have to worry about it much longer, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be out. I don't even know at this point whether or not, how much they're going to rush to get him back. I don't know. But I want to hear some more about what you've been working on with Flagrant Magazine. Now, we had Ashton on a couple months ago to just as it was getting put together. So talk about your role with Flagrant and what's been going on.
Yeah, so Flagrant Magazine, it's 4 co-founders, but Ashton won't let me say this, I'm saying it anyway. Ashton started this magazine. Ashton asked the 3 of us if we would, do this with her. She wanted it to be about basketball and culture and art, and that's what it is. So she asked me to design it and lay it out. It's taken a lot longer than anticipated. It's my first magazine. It's really the first time I've used InDesign. Hopefully I don't scare away any buyers with that little tidbit, but I think I did all right for my first magazine. It's just been really fun. Like it's been difficult, but because, the 4 of us all live in different cities. So Ashton at the time was in Denver. We have someone in the Bay. We have someone in New York, and then I'm in Portland. So we've all been doing this basically via Skype conference and text messages and, coordinating shoots and getting art and interviews and stuff. It's pretty crazy that it actually got done. That's the feeling of like, wow, we actually did this. This isn't just something that we talked about and then it kind of fell flat and we just stopped doing it, because that's how a lot of my personal projects end up going, because I'm pretty ADD, but we've got a lot of really passionate women on the project, and we've all been kind of helping each other out, and it's just been incredible to be a part of it.
Well, that's incredible. It sounds amazing, and congratulations, because that had to have been so much work to build something absolutely from scratch.
Yeah. And, I was lucky. I mean, I had very little artistic direction or, influence in the shoots or anything like that. The 2 photographers and the other art director really took hold of that, and Ashton coordinated everything, and just how everything's been put together from so many different cities. And we have so many different contributors that we collaborated with that donated their time and art and just expertise to help us make this happen has been so incredible. And I'm just really stoked for everyone to see it. I think it's great, and it's going to be out soon. I don't want to give an actual date, but they are in production and should be at least in our homes to ship by next week. So it's coming soon.
Fingers are crossed. Can you give us any teasers about any of the content in the first issue?
Ooh, man. I'll give you a teaser. If there's any fans of astrology out there, we've got something for you that one of our contributors, Sierra Smith, worked on. Probably my favorite part of the magazine, honestly. We've got an interview with a WNBA player. And I don't want to say too much. I mean, a lot of it, just to be honest, a lot of it's like visual. Like we have a lot of articles and there's a lot of really good, content in there, but a lot of it's visual. We meant to make it so it could sit on your coffee table and be sort of a piece of art in itself. So, hopefully it's really pretty and pleasing to the eye. And then you also get to read a lot of good stuff along the way.
What was the most fun part of making it for you? I imagine it was a ton of hard work, but something must have kept you going.
The most fun part, I mean, just the fact that Ashton trusted in me to lay it out was a lot of responsibility, but it was really awesome just having, 112 pages or whatever we ended up with of just my landscape. Like, here's the content, they would give me the photos and the interviews and I would have to somehow put them onto a page. And like I said, this is my first magazine. I've done graphic design. I do all sorts of graphics at my job, but I've never done like a magazine, something someone would hold in their hand and have to look at. Mm-hmm. So just doing a lot of the research and looking at a lot of magazines online and holding them in my hand to try to figure out what it needs to look like was probably the most fun part. And I assume that's going to be the most fun part going forward, is just getting better at that and finding new layouts and new formats to use for future issues.
Do you feel like with at least with the one episode edition that or issue that you felt like you came up with a vision that made sense to tell the stories that you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. I don't think I'm quite that good that I would really be able to do some visual storytelling with my formatting yet. But that's what I'm most excited about going forward, is just getting better at InDesign and getting better at kind of like learning the tools. First of all, learning how to do stuff within InDesign, but also figuring out like, okay, well, what's best for this story? Like, how should this page be laid out to be the most consumable and like, pleasing on the eye and readable, really. Mm-hmm. So 'cause that's the learning curve for me, I think, because this program is new to me and so are magazines, but I'm excited about it.
This is like a question kind of from out of the blue, so like if you're not prepared for it, but like, do you remember, like right now we get so much of our basketball media that we consume, it's just all digital. It's, it's tweets, it's articles on blogs, it's articles on news sites. But, back in the old days when we all used to read books, did you have any, like basketball books, or even not even basketball books, but like books or magazines that you kind of held in your mind that you thought about, that were you trying to learn how to do this?
I didn't have basketball books. I vaguely, what I'm remembering? So I was a book nerd when I was really young, like in elementary school. Like the Scholastic Book Fair was like my jam. I waited for it every year. And there was some book, I don't know, maybe you'd remember. It's a children's book about basketball, but it involved a shrew.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay, I'll have to find it because it just popped into my head when you mentioned that. Yeah, I had a lot of books about football, actually, oddly enough. I had a biography on Emmitt Smith. I had a biography on Steve Young. I had a couple different like football books, because my family was big football watchers, so I was really interested in that. But no, I don't think I had anything that really like inspired me to do this project. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking about how so quickly the way we consumed information changed from, newspapers and magazines to digital, and now you all are going back to digital, and how it must have been interesting for you to like try to, all this information that you've been getting digitally, you're now trying to make it like tangible again.
Yeah.
It was an interesting thought.
Yeah. So it's hard, right? And we were fighting this the whole time, we were in production, which is like some of our articles were hinging on free agency. Like if we printed it and something happened in free agency, some of the stuff that we typed out might not be accurate anymore. So it is a little bit scary when you're going back to print. It's not like this information river where like it's just going and going and going, and you might be able to see something, online as it's happening. But we, one of our slogans is digital is dead. We're sort of trying to go back to the thing that we once loved, which is holding a book or a magazine or something in your hand, having something tangible to read and to look at, and, just get your head out of the screen, I guess, for a moment. Because this magazine isn't news, it doesn't need to be timely. We're showing you photos and telling you stories that you may not have heard about if it weren't for, the magazine, or, you know what I mean? Like we're trying to put stuff in the magazine that you probably wouldn't see on Bleacher Report or in Sports Illustrated, anything like that. So it's a really different kind of thing. So, and I think that is kind of necessary based on how long it's going to take us to do these issues. Hopefully it gets faster every time. But yeah, we can't really be about like what's happening right now. It's much more leisurely and like kind of a collective of everything we've gathered and learned about culture, art, basketball, kind of surrounding the NBA and WNBA.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get my issue, and I pre-ordered mine, and I was order number 50. And
oh, wow.
I am 50 this year, and it's the Trailblazers 50th anniversary. So
that's amazing.
I'm very excited about that. I don't know what it means, but I'm positive that it means something good for everybody involved.
It probably means yours is going to be the issue with the weird watermark that we're going to get blamed for. But maybe the weird watermark will form into a 50. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe it'll have a golden ticket in it and, I'll win it. Or the Blazers will win the championship or something.
Oh God.
Somehow.
As much as I want that to happen, Tara, can it happen in a season where I've actually watched all of the games? Because this is my biggest fear right now. I'm not wishing that it won't happen, but I'm so scared that it's going to happen in this season where I have been such a bad fan.
Well, you've been so busy with Flagrant Magazine, but maybe, for a couple of weeks, you'll have time to get to come up for air after the All-Star break. And when Nurkic comes back, when we will all be glued to our TVs waiting for him to come back. One more thing on Flagrant. Do you want to tell folks how they can get a copy?
Yeah. So pre-orders are basically still open, but at this point you're just ordering because we almost have them. But if you go to flagrantmag.com and click on orders, they'll be right there, issue 1. You can go on our Twitter and click the link. We have our pinned tweet has the link to it as well. Also, we are going to be selling at a few Portland locations, Laundry PDX in Chinatown and Deadstock Coffee in Chinatown will be carrying the magazine as soon as we get them. So you can get them in a lot of places. Yeah.
So old school. How fun.
I know.
Well, I can't wait to get my copy. And it's just been lovely to talk to you and get caught up with you. It's been far too long. Before we sign off, is there any other social media you want to share with people so they can find you? Maybe also Rip Twitty?
Yeah, follow me at Owl Hicks, follow Rip Twitty at Rip Twitty, follow Flagrant Mag at Flagrant Mag on Instagram and on Twitter. And, you'll really be sick of me if you follow all that stuff. So,
but it's all super fun and entertaining stuff. So you'll also be entertained. So
that might be true.
Well, I'll sign off with my social media, TCB Biggs on Twitter. Follow Blazers Edge at Blazers Edge. Follow the Hoops and Talks podcast at Hoops and Talks. Find the podcast in the Blazers Edge podcast feed. You can send us emails. We love your emails. hoopsandtalks@gmail.com. Give us your ideas for icebreakers. Tell us how much you love your copy of Flagrant Magazine when it comes in the mail. And that'll do it for now. We've got the All-Star game coming up. We'll have a special guest next week to go over what happened over All-Star weekend. And we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.